Hello, everyone. Welcome to Understanding Social Media Guidelines and Safe Usage. My name is Matt Robinson.
And I'm Mike Vanny, and this one is really important because social media is literally in everything. There is the standards, there's the Facebooks, the Instagrams, etc. And then there's like specifics. There's Strava for running and food groups and music crews. There's social media in Spotify. There's literally everywhere. And if you're not careful, you can really get into trouble out there.
That's right. And a lot of these platforms, they've become social media apps. Like you mentioned Spotify, like it used to just be a music playing app.
Music.
And now there's all sorts of different things. And Strava was just a running app. And now you can like you post your GPS location and it shows you share it out to your friends. And there's lots of things to think about when it comes to these social media platforms. So let's just jump into it. So the most popular social media platforms as of November 2023 is still Facebook. It's huge. And the second one is YouTube, and then WeChat, which is China Central. Basically, it's their version of Facebook, and their whole society essentially runs on it. It's pretty cool, actually. You can you book massages through it, you order cabs, you buy your tickets for events. It's all run through one platform. So basically the entire country uses it pretty religiously. And then Instagram and TikTok's coming up fast. More and more people are using TikTok all the time. So that's probably it is the fastest rising. So as of 2024, an estimated almost 5 billion people use social media across the world. I think there's only like 7 or 8 billion total. That's a huge percentage.
It's a very large amount of people.
And it's expected to jump up to almost 6 billion by 2027. And like we mentioned, there's so many different platforms. So the average user spreads their digital footprint out to 6 or 7 different platforms a month. And it's the whole social media world is worth like $1 billion. So 2022 was valued at 50 billion. And so the numbers obviously they're just going up. I couldn't find a newer number than that was concrete, but you can bet that it's probably closer to 75 billion now. Quite high. People in North America, they have an average of 7 social media accounts. India has an average of 11. And Japan is a little more modest at three to four. The average person spends about 145 minutes on social media every day. Like that's a lot of time wasted looking at screens and swiping. That's crazy.
A lot of videos of cats and dogs.
Tons of videos of cats and dogs. And now AI videos of cats fighting
and
dogs and flying through the air, and you can't even tell what's true or not.
Yeah, I was going to say Sora, which is OpenAI's video platform, they released a new app called Sora 2, which is essentially a AI-driven social media where all the videos are created in AI. So if you kind of just wrap your head around that, we've gone from social media of me talking to you to now a social media of me talking to you through an AI video. And we're sharing AI videos back and forth. So it's pretty crazy to think how fast and exponentially large this is starting to grow and spiral and roll down the proverbial hill, right?
And accessible. Like that's a pretty low fee to enter to get access to those. Which is terrifying. Okay, so Nigeria, they use the most, about 4 hours a day on social media, which is quite a bit. And so if somebody lives to be 73, they're spending about 6 years of their life spent looking at social media platforms. And so the most engaging type of content is short form video, which lends itself to the AI platforms Mike was just mentioning, because those videos are like 10 seconds long, and they're just quick, digestible. You see something outrageous and then you move on to the next thing. The most common way
These
people
are your TikTok videos.
That's right. TikTok videos, YouTube Shorts is gaining a lot of momentum, and it's the most common way people access social media is on a mobile device. and you can also use a computer, but less people do so. About 78% of all people access exclusively from their phones. And the demographics, pretty much what you'd think. Between 18 to 60 or 18 to 49 is like 80% of users. And then from 50 to 64, that gets a little bit lower, 73%. And then boomers up, which I think the boomer age group, I think is more of a term than it is an actual demographic these days, is a little bit lower at 45%. So social media and healthcare statistics, social media is not good for your mental health. 40%, almost 40% of social media users report that they're addicted to social media. And what that means is you're addicted to the dopamine release of your swiping. So you move on to the next thing and your brain likes it, releases a little bit of dopamine, and you're happy in your little swiping vortex, I think it's called. And a research does show that there's a big correlation between social media use and depression for adolescents. A lot of times, a huge percentage of adolescents are feeling worse about their own lives because of social media use. What people post on social media a lot of times is the highlight reel of their life and is phony, so completely fake versions of themselves. And then people compare themselves to that, and they compare their lives and feel a little bit down about it. Mm-hmm. Adolescents who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media have an increased risk of mental health struggles. So we try to limit our access. And so this, if you're parents that are watching this, it's definitely something to think about when you're sitting at home and you're scrolling on your phone and you're modeling that behavior for your kids. Is not necessarily healthy.
That's right.
So signs of unhealthy social media habits: excessive screen time. If your kid is on there for a really long time, or if you or your spouse is on there for a really long time, they might have an unhealthy social media relationship. Sudden changes in behavior, secretive behavior, cyberbullying. Oftentimes kids will take out their rage about their lives on kids that are doing better than them or seemingly better than them on social media. If they're isolating, obsessive comparison. So this is they're comparing their life to this highlight reel of someone else's life. Or if they're addicted to the validation that strangers give them online, that's super unhealthy. And sleep disturbances, staying up late, not getting enough sleep. That is a real strain on mental health for not just kids, but adults as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So basically, the good usage guidelines are to set age-appropriate limits. If your kid's 13, don't open them a social media account. I think the terms and conditions actually say that you have to be 13 at least to use them. Mm-hmm. I think they're changing that it's different in some countries, and I'm not sure if Canada's going to stick with 13 right now. I think there was talk of them raising it to 16. I don't know. I doubt that will happen. It'll eat into the profits of those companies, and people just lie about it anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Your children do not need social media accounts. I know a lot of parents will set their kids up an account to eventually hand over to them, and the sharp reality is that this is not a need by any means, and I would personally recommend against it, but there's just so many dangers that exist in that space, so at the bare minimum it warrants a very serious discussion between yourselves to determine what is and isn't okay on there.
That's right. It's all up to your child's maturity level, more or less. Yeah. And so, and every kid will be different for the most part. It's important to have open communication, and encourage your teen to talk about their online experiences, and monitor it, become friends with family, become friends with you so you can see what they're doing online. Educate on privacy settings. So we have a video about this where you go in and you can change your Facebook settings to limit what people can see. Um, Encourage them to think before they post. If you put things out on the internet, they're out there forever, right? I liken it to it's like trying to get pee out of a pool. You just can't do it. It's going to be there forever. Balance your online and offline time. Go out. I think the kids say touch grass. Go outside and touch grass. um, Be aware of your digital footprint. Make sure that your teens understand the information they're putting online. We have a video about that as well. It's a digital footprint. Information can be like where they're living, their GPS location, personal information about themselves. Make sure that they realize that that has value and they shouldn't just give it up freely to anyone. Report inappropriate behavior. So if they're being bullied online, right, they can complain or put in, I think it's called put someone in Facebook jail if they get their account suspended for inappropriate behavior. Like there are means that the kids can take. And then model responsible behavior. Like I'd mentioned, don't sit on TikTok for 3 hours instead of talking to your children. They're going to replicate the behavior that they see, especially from parents they look up to. And that one is really important because there's a lot of parents that are addicted to social media as well. Yeah. There is
there's a documentary on Netflix called called Unknown Number or something. It's a video a movie about the catfishing taking place in high school in a town. I believe it was in Texas or something like that. And it's a very good watch, and it's an eye opener for especially for parents, but honestly for anyone to know that the person you're talking to online could literally be anybody, and action beats non-action. There's a lot that's in that video. I won't go into specifics about it, but it is definitely a good watch, especially just speaking on this aspect of things, right? Because it's rough out there for kids. It's rough out there for teenagers, and it's relentless too, from the point of view of cyberbullying, and it's scary.
That's right. And they often have FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Their friends are on social media, so they want to jump in. And oftentimes it's glorified before they even really know what it is. And then it never lives up to the hype.
Mm-hmm.
So especially Facebook. So Facebook has a history of psychological experiments that they've been running on people. So at one point they were feeding users different information. So they would basically feed a bunch of users really positive posts to their feed, and then other ones really negative. And then they would test to see how it affected their moods and the things that they posted afterwards. And so they just are running psychological experiments on people to basically figure out the best way to advertise and to manipulate the people using their platforms to spend more time on their platforms. And it's disgusting.
Makes you feel really gross.
Yeah, they're just exploiting you as a user. You can read more about that. Just Google it. It's pretty interesting. They also have a ton of really creepy Facebook patents. And so I will say that putting a patent application in doesn't necessarily mean you're using the patent currently, just that you don't want someone else to use it, but that you do have the technology that the patent is saying. You have to essentially prove that it is correct, and that if someone else creates it and uses it, then you have copyright, the right to stop them from using it. So these are patents filed by Facebook since it went public in 2012. One patent discusses predicting whether you're in a romantic relationship, judging by on how many times you visit someone else's page, and basically just sort of manipulating you in one way or the other, and including the person that it thinks you're in a relationship with. One describes judging your degree of extroversion or openness and emotional stability, and then will feed you ads or news items to play on that currently. So if you're in a bit of a funk, it will feed you things that it feels will either keep you in the funk if you're interacting with the platform, or if you're happy, it will keep you that way. It's very, we're trying to read your mind essentially. This one will predict your future based on your age. So whenever a major life event like your graduation is coming, it'll start feeding you graduation information, or a major event if you're getting older, or if you've got a relative that has a sickness, they will feed you ads based on how much you're interacting with those people. It's all very intrusive and gross, and all of it is based on feeding you more ads and getting you to stay on their platform.
Yeah, selling you more things and pulling more money from you.
Yeah, pulling engagement.
Walking bags of money.
Yeah, basically. This one will identify unique or faulty pixels or scratches on your camera. So if you're hanging out with somebody that you're not Facebook friends with, and then you take a photo with them using their phone, it will know you are friends with that person because their phone will potentially have unique scratches on the lens, and it will identify that and link you from that point because you took a picture with that person's device. So it knows down to the pixel. And so basically this one is, people have been like talking about, it's been debated a lot about whether or not the phone is listening to you, like when you're surfing or like swiping through your feed, whether or not it activates your microphone. And so this patent, it was filed by them that it actually activates your microphone, and it's supposed to be listening for the ads on television that you're watching. I'm not necessarily saying this is active right now, but I'm sure we've all been in that situation where you talk about something with somebody and then you're fed an ad about it literally 10 minutes later. And so there's definitely some truth to that. But all that being said, their algorithms and the way that they feed you ads are also really, really sophisticated. So it's almost so bad that they don't necessarily need to be listening with the microphone on all the time to still feed you ads at the same efficiency that they are.
Yeah.
But that being said, this is by far the creepiest one, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And just goes to hammer down more that these platforms are not safe by default, and you always have to be on your guard.
Yeah, that's right. They're always listening, always trying to be invasive in your life, including to your children. And tracking your routine. So a lot of times you'll get a notification on your phone saying, oh, you're headed home. Do you want to stop for a snack on your way home? Like it basically, they track your whole routine and then try to push you towards spending money and buying things based on who they're currently in an advertising contract with. And so they will at the same time infer your habits. So they'll know what time you leave your work. They know what you do on the weekends. If you have a routine that you stick to, the social media platforms will know it, including Google. Google is very invasive. They have a lot of your information that they use quite often, including your GPS tracking data, all of that information, all the information from pictures, like it's readily available. Apple keeps all that information as well. And so Facebook has a pretty terrible algorithm. It can be trained to predict who can click what ad on what they post, and then give those posts more prominence. And so what that can mean is, so say you've got a teenage boy, they can be fed some Andrew Tate stuff, and they'll get stuck in that same algorithm. It's like called an echo chamber. And for girls, it's often makeup and self-harm materials.
Body
image issues. They put a lot of, because they're trying to get the kids to engage with those, and those are the things that kids engage with the most. So we're going to talk a little bit about each platform. TikTok is the fastest growing video sharing app. It was owned by a Chinese technology company, and I think it's currently in talks to be sold to American investors now, or at least a part of it. I'm not sure where we're at. With
I
that
believe
currently.
I believe a portion of it, or the American side of it, is going to be held by Oracle.
Okay, so yeah, they're currently trying to split it up because there was some worries about all the data being held on Chinese servers, and a country having access to all that data isn't necessarily in the best interest of another country. And so basically it started out as Musical.ly, but now it's basically a huge, like it's all over the world. And so this algorithm is particularly aggressive and sophisticated. But basically, a new account created in the US was being fed pro-suicide and self-harm posts within 2 minutes of being active on the app. And so that is basically where it's sending the kids, the brand new kids that are using these apps, to some pretty heinous things based on the location data of what the US is basically interacting with as a whole. It's very dangerous is the only way I can put it.
It's incredibly scary. Yeah.
So it exploits the vulnerability of children. So like I'd mentioned about it pushes girls towards self-harm and body image stuff, and it pushes teenage boys towards misogyny most often. And that's true of Facebook as well, because that's the interaction, right? That's where they get the clicks from.
Yeah.
Snapchat is a pretty popular one, and so I mentioned this one. It's not so much. It is social media in a way, but it's less like looking at your like a text feed and more video related.
Communication.
Communication related. But it also has a feature called the Snap Map, which will show your location to your friends. And I believe it's on by default. You have to go in and opt out. And so it's just something
you have to intentionally go and opt out. It doesn't. I think it
doesn't
puts it
give
up
you the
one
option.
time.
Yeah,
it says,
and
"Would you like
after
to share
that-
your data?" And then it never mentions it again.
That's right. Share your location with your friends. And so you can. There are like options in here. You can share your location with specific friends or all friends. And so if your kid is using Snapchat, Snap Maps, it's hard to say. Make sure you go in and you're aware of their sharing and their location information, because you just never know who they're becoming friends with on Snapchat.
Yeah, and you can share if location sharing is what you want, you can do it without using Snapchat. Built into Apple, and I'm sure this is built into Google Maps as well. There's an ability, the Find My iPhone app has the ability to share. So if you're a parent and you want to have, the location of your child's iPhone available to you, you simply can just share your data between those two devices without an intermediary software like Snapchat.
That's right. Okay, Instagram. It's been active since 2010. It's owned by the same company that owns Facebook, which is named Meta. So it collects and shares the same amount of data on you that Facebook does, and their algorithm is pretty similar, but just the emphasis is on videos and pictures. YouTube, like I mentioned, YouTube is basically a video hosting site, and it has a comment underneath the video, and so those comments can be pretty gross. You never know, like anyone, I remember when YouTube was first started up, the comment section of YouTube was like the hive of scum and villainy on the.
It was really gross.
It was bad, because they were essentially anonymous. You can create an account and go on. At least with Facebook, it kind of tries to prove your identity, but YouTube doesn't really do that. And it's owned by the same company that owns Google, so that has the same information on you that Google does. It also has a kids app, which shows just kids categorized videos, which honestly, you could make any video categorized as a kids video, and then it goes into the kids pool. And so there's been a lot of controversy about the YouTube Kids app, because it sort of just feeds you whatever videos are in there, which now is including a lot of like AI slop videos. But previously it was a lot of animations that were pretty R-rated, that included a lot of like Elsa and Spider-Man and those types of things, and they would just be put into the pool, and then they would come up as your kids just watching videos. It just plays the next video, and a lot of times it would be those videos, and they would be pretty R-rated. Okay. So those are the big ones. So the conclusion of this one: knowledge is power. Educate yourself on these social media platforms and how your kids engage with them. And don't be afraid to dig in. Make sure you check those privacy settings, engage in those conversations, and find out how they're using social media.
Open conversation is the real key here, right?
Yep, that's absolutely right. Be the change. Don't spend a lot of time on social media or on your phone staring away at your screen. Your kid's going to emulate your behavior. And supervision is necessary. Don't let your kids just sit on YouTube and hit the next video. Don't trust that the things they're watching on these platforms are safe for kids. Even though they're marketed for kids, oftentimes they're not.
Yeah, a massive takeaway from this should be that the platforms don't have your child's best interests at heart. They are very much looking out for themselves and looking at a way to how to best use them to collect ad revenue or whatever purposes that they need that data. And so it's going to fall to you to make sure that you're doing the best for not only for your children, but for yourself as well.
It's in their best interest to addict you to their platform. Okay, that's it. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, have a great one.
Bye.